Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you ready?
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olsen.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of After Hours AM. It's Thursday, so that means paranormal. We are going to scare the hell out of you tonight. Well, I suppose I should introduce this. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
and I'm actually really excited. We're having MrCreepyPasta on the show tonight, man.
Very excited. It is time that we move into some new directions, and there's so much crazy paranormal and horror stuff going on the internet itself, and we've dipped into it a bit, but this will be a huge step for us. We got Mr. Creepypasta himself. He's got a brand new collection of stories from his YouTube channel. It's called the CREEPYPASTA Collection.
But you know what?
Volume 2.
You know what's really cool is tonight, after every break, the two breaks that we always take, after every break, and barring the Fox News, of course, but after every break, we're going to play one of the stories from that YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
You're going to get a little taste. If you've never gone to the Creepypasta channel on YouTube, right here tonight, you're going to get a little taste of what that's like. What you'll expect to hear.
Read something too, you know.
Exactly. And then, of course, you can buy the book because, kind of whet everyone's appetite for a little bit more. So the book even goes further in depth than even the YouTube channel does. You get like
20 stories, no sleep.
Yeah, and you get actually an origin story about Jeff the Killer.
Super cool.
That is cool.
Coolest. I've been plowing through it. I got about halfway, which is pretty good for me.
That is really good for you.
And it's standalone, it's standalone story, so it's a great toilet book.
Are you saying you do your best reading?
Pick it up any damn time you want.
Are you saying that you do your best reading in the bathroom?
I'm saying I do some reading in the bathroom.
You know what? That is like the Fortress of Solitude right there, or especially when you have kids at home.
Absolutely,
it really
you need an escape, and you got a whole room.
You do
devoted to elimination and preparation,
and relaxation.
Use it, man.
And relaxation. Don't forget that, because you get that 5-minute break of not hearing the kids screaming.
Have I ever told you about our master bath?
No.
Master bedroom?
No, you have never told me about that.
Well, it's big. It's not huge. It's not, crazy. It's not mansion big, but it's a big bathroom. It's definitely a master bath. It's a large closet, and back several years ago when we when we were swimming in the dough for a while, we had it. We did the redo the closet, upgrade it, make it super cool, update it, and so it's a walk-in closet. But we have a really nice full-size jacuzzi.
Wow.
And
Man, living large.
TV and full audio system, surround sound in the bathroom.
In the bathroom. You have all that in the bathroom. A TV, surround sound unit. Do you ever leave the bathroom?
I spend a fair amount of time in the
I would
morning
never
in that
leave.
bathroom.
I would never leave that bathroom.
I sit there with the bubbles going and the nice big bath. It's not a walk-in, but it's full size. It can fit two people. And you got the bubbles going, or I should say the jets. It's not bubbles, it's jets.
You and
got
the
them
wife,
going, and I'm working on my back. It's so good for my back and my neck. I gotta soak them every day. Gotta loosen them up, and I'm sitting there watching TV and I'm listening to my surround sound.
Well, hey, there you go. And I would imagine Miss Dawn will join you once in a while in the hot tub. So
she is long gone when I get up.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow. You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
She is long gone by the time I get up in the morning.
I was kicking around the internet, getting ready for the show, and I've been posting some really crazy stories over there at the Facebook area. Our little group over there. There we go. Now I can spit it out. Our Facebook group, which of course is After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted. Colorado hunter claims he was sexually assaulted by a Sasquatch.
Was he now?
Yes. Daryl Whitetaker from Glenwood Springs in Colorado claims a Sasquatch attacked him and attempted to rape him while he was taking a walk in the woods.
So was this like a prison Sasquatch?
Well, I'm not sure. He's the 57-year-old man was walking to his hunting cabin on Sunday to see if it had suffered any damage during the winter. And all of a sudden, a large gorilla-like creature dropped from a tree in front of him and punched him in the face.
Holy mackerel, that wasn't very nice.
He says it was at least 8 feet tall, and its punch really hurt like hell, he said. I was knocked right out.
I would imagine.
With the first blow. Yeah, I would imagine 8 foot tall,
You'd
that
be
big.
reeling.
Boom. Yeah. Like Dolph Lundgren from the Rocky. I will destroy you. While Mr. Whitetaker was trying to recover from the attack, the large humanoid creature began to tear his clothes off while letting out some terrible howls.
Was he lonely or what?
I don't know. Maybe he was maybe that was the mating call.
Wow. Well, that adds a new wrinkle. I wonder how many reports there are of such similar things.
I'm not sure.
That's something I've heard a lot about.
No, I've never heard of a Sasquatch wanting to get jiggy with people.
Remember about a year or two ago, there was that woman, though, who was saying that she had a long-term relationship.
I remember that. Now you bring that up. She claims that she was...
And I think she'd even had kids?
With the Sasquatch. Yeah. That was a weird story. I'm going to have to dig that story up. I'm going to have to dig that one up one of these days. And then he goes on to say, when I regained consciousness, he had already torn my pants off and was tearing through my underwear. I stabbed him in the shoulder with my hunting knife, and that made him run away.
Well, that's good.
Mr. Whitetaker immediately reported the attack to both the Glenwood Springs Police Department and the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Agency, and a joint investigation was launched.
He reported it to anyone who would listen.
Daryl is convinced that the creature who attacked him was a Sasquatch, but the GSPD investigators say it's more probable that the attacker was simply a particularly large, hairy man.
Wow. What, you can't tell the difference at that?
Well,
he stabbed him in the shoulder. I mean, come on.
He gets better now. They are currently interrogating nearby big, hairy men to see if they would notice the individual.
They put out a call for large, 8-foot-tall, hairy men in the vicinity.
We need y'all to show up down at the precinct now if you're hairy, and if it looks like you're still wearing a shirt after you take your shirt off, we want to talk to you.
That seems very.
According
very
to the
silly.
victim, the attacker measures around 8 foot tall and is extremely hairy. And he has brown hair, dark eyes, tall, dark, and handsome, extremely large feet. You know what they say about large feet? You need big socks. If you possess any information concerning this suspect, please contact Glenwood Springs Police Department, Colorado Parks Wildlife, or the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Agency. Are you kidding me?
Well, someone should give that large hairy man a stern talking to.
And there I was.
Because 8-foot hairy men are always dropping out
They
of
are.
trees.
They evidently dropped out of a tree right in front of him. And he started to attack him. And, he says, "Hey, baby, it's been a long time. You won't visit this cabin near enough."
God, I mean, honestly, are there any right now in the world? Are there any humans who are 8 feet tall?
Unless you happen to
look
have
this
a
up.
contract with the NBA. Probably not.
I mean, that is so tall. I know there's never been an 8-footer in the NBA because if you're that tall,
I would imagine.
Yeah. Remember the? Oh, yeah. There's a
Yao
parallel.
Ming, right? Wasn't he like almost 8 foot? Yao Ming or whatever his name was. That
Very
one
tall, but not 8.
very well. I
Like
was
7.5.
Yeah, well, that's close enough. I mean, I'm sure he didn't pull a tape measure to see if he's truly 8 feet tall, but I don't think Yao Ming is traveling the woods of Colorado.
No, exactly. So my point is, maybe I'm trying to see here. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's one
Yeah.
8 foot tall. I mean, there have been people over 8, not a lot. There've been a few. There's apparently currently one. He's 8 foot 1 inch. He is Turkish. He's a Paralympian on the volleyball team.
And he's
So-
8-footer.
Yeah, he's 8 foot 1. But I mean, the
Wow.
point is, there are not many. If there are any more at all, it would be very, very, very surprising. People over 8 feet tall currently on the entire Earth. So
Yeah.
if the guy is correct in his assessment of the attacker, we'll leave it neutral, the attacker's height, then it can't be human. There aren't 8 foot tall humans.
Well, yeah,
other than
because even
maybe one.
even Andre the Giant was only 7'4".
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you
what
know.
was so remarkable about him, even more than his height, was just how wide.
Yeah.
He was just enormous.
I met him.
Huge.
I met him one time years
That
ago.
must have been-
I was a teenager, and I went to go see the WWE. Back then, it was called the WWF live. Back when him and Hulk Hogan were feuding, you remember those days. Hulk Hogan versus Andre
Yep.
the Giant was such a. It was actually big news back in the day. But
Sure.
I had met him, and my father was about 6'1", and he dwarfed him like nothing. And he shook my hand, and you couldn't even see my hand. I mean, it was just like a catcher's mitt. It was huge.
Massive.
His hand was just
Utterly
massive.
massive.
His fingers were just huge. I mean, they look like Polishes rather than fingers. Great big fingers, great big hands. I just remember seeing the girth of this guy. It was unreal how big he was.
Yeah,
So,
it's super wide,
And if
incredibly wide.
if someone that big wants to pose their will on you, this guy, if someone was 8 foot tall, he probably didn't stand much of a chance to fight back. But he did somehow stab him in the shoulder, making the Bigfoot, the alleged Sasquatch, run off, going when he ran off.
Clutching his shoulder.
You don't
Yeah.
love me anymore. Does this mean it's over?
Let's face it. If there's any truth at all to the story, I mean, any of it, then it had to be a Sasquatch. Let's face
It
it.
had to have been. It had to have been. Maybe he's a jilted Sasquatch. Maybe he's mad now because, maybe they were together. Maybe they were. I'm not judging, man. I'm not judging. Love is love. Okay, I'm not judging.
All right. Are you ready? I looked it up since
okay.
we're blabbing away. Interesting that they are all in the Middle East.
Really?
There are 3 people currently 8 foot tall or taller. One's in Iran, one's in Morocco, and one's in Turkey.
And so the chances of them wandering around the forests of Colorado is pretty slim. Is what you're saying. So
I would say exceptionally
I think
slim.
we can take them
Unless
all
they
the
were
suspect pool.
touring. They're on a world's tallest men tour.
Maybe they were, but
in the wilds of Colorado.
Yeah, and just happened to run into Daryl and go, "Hey, man, how you doing?"
Just lost.
Well, okay. Next story, man. We got to move on. I could go on with jokes all night about this.
All right.
Hearst couple who unwittingly purchased haunted mineral wells home now says, "Hey, you want to buy it?" When Phil and Kim Kirchhoff purchased an old home on Northeast 1st Street in Mineral Wells 3 years ago, they had intentions of restoring the 100-year-old White House to its former grandeur. It would become a family project. But today, Kim won't even go up there. Phil says he won't mow the lawn, not even in the middle of the day. The ghosts, some adults and some children, come out at all hours, Phil says. That house is a wacky, flippin' weird place, he says, in the middle of the day. It is, or whether it's day or whether it's night, he says it does not matter. There's paranormal activity. The haunted Hill House is what it's become, as it is now called by locals, was known as a site of paranormal activity before the Kirchhoffs purchased it for an undisclosed price. That would have been good information, they said, to have in advance. Phil says, we started having this estate sale to sell stuff off from the home. Phil explains, and all the neighbors started to tell us the ghost stories about the home, because evidently when they moved in, a lot of the former owner's stuff was left. The Kirchhoffs soon realized that they wouldn't be fixing up the 501 Northeast 1st Street home, not for 1 second. Not with the female ghost who allegedly hums happily in the kitchen while she cooks. And the children named Joshua, one child named Joshua who allegedly talks to you while you're trying to sit in your chair watch TV. Oh, yeah, don't forget the house guests that never seem to leave. While Phil had never been interested in the paranormal activity before, nor did he even believe it, he's become a believer. He says, before I moved in this house, I was completely did not believe in the mumbo-jumbo of the paranormal. He is a senior quality analyst at a computer company full-time, so he says, my mind is science-related. It has to make sense to me. And then Phil meets paranormal investigators and others interested in experiencing the ghostly activity a few evenings a month. Get this, for $250 a night.
Whoa.
See now, Phil, if you're listening, Phil, you are looking to sell the golden egg. All right. Let's just be real for a minute. You're charging $250 a night to let a ghost hunter in, paranormal investigator? Oh, my God. Side income. Come on. Go there every night. Do it every night. Can you imagine? You could quit your job, Bill. You could. That's all you got to do. Oh, anyhow.
Crazy go nuts. Yeah, I mean, if he's already kind of halfway dipping his toe into charge,
exactly.
Might as well go all the way.
Well, he says Phil can summon the spirits at the Haunted Hill House. He tells stories of about a few other dozen people that have had these problems in the house, have been scratched and attacked, which Phil says he learned is a classic experience during a ghost haunting. He even tells a story of one man who was punched to the ground by some force that he never saw, leaving him with bruises and abrasions. The children's spirit, he explains, like to get on your back. They like to sit beside you. They like to crawl on you like a small child would into your lap, and they also love an occasional piggyback ride. Spooky. Still, Phil only halfway believes in ghosts, he says. I can't totally give in, he said. I think that there's something here, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm more a believer than I was before, but these ghosts have definitely swayed my beliefs. He says, but I still don't believe in Bigfoot and demons.
Well, thanks for letting us know about that there, pal.
And he says, with a degree from University of Texas, Phil is a avid fossil hunter who decided that the haunted house that he owns is going to be up for sale. It just fell in my lap anyway. I want to get rid of this problem. So you can buy this house for $125K.
Well, off the top of my head, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
it's a nice house.
But he says,
area. I guess it's in the Fort Worth area.
Yes,
of
that's
Texas.
exactly. He says he won't sell to anyone that wants to demolish the home. He hopes to hand it off as to a paranormal researcher would be the best thing, he said.
Well, then he must believe in something.
He must,
right?
because he keeps on going back and forth. I don't know if I believe in it. Well, I do believe in it. Well, maybe not. But I still don't believe in Bigfoot or ghosts or UFOs or anything else, okay? So don't even start
So don't
there.
think I'm weird.
Yeah, I don't think I'm weird or nothing, but yeah, I still don't believe in that stuff. Okay, the Haunted Hill House is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Yes, you could own it. Or is it a 3-bath? The third bathroom was sealed up for unknown reasons before the Kirchhoffs bought it. Whoa, we don't know why they sealed it off, he said. No good explanation at all. I noticed the bathroom when I was looking at the plumbing in the home and realized that there was a full pipe set going to that room for no apparently good reason. So I unsealed it and walked in. The home is 2,800 square feet and is located in kind of a primo spot, in the neighborhood. So it's a good place, good neighborhood. It's near the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells. So you can actually go get that, and it will be featured on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so far Phil has gotten some interest in the home, but no offers as of yet. Well, Phil, how does $25 sound?
Yeah, or 30 even. I'd go that far. Well, in the meantime, while he's trying to unload it, he should probably just allow investigators
Phil,
to come through
like
and
I was
charge
saying,
him like
Phil,
he's already
man.
doing.
Phil, you got a golden egg here. You really do. You're really selling yourself short. You are.
Well, obviously the one thing he should do is hold on until that Ghost Adventures episode airs.
Exactly.
Then he'll know what kind of interest there is in it, because people all across the world, certainly the U.S., will see it. In particular, fans of the paranormal. So there could well be someone who would see the show and become interested in it. So I would hang on, certainly, until then. I wouldn't do anything hasty in the meantime.
Look at all these real estate places. I mean, the people that own haunted real estate. Look how much they make. Villisca Axe Murder House in Iowa is charging, what, $500, $450 a night to go investigate it?
I don't know what the current thing is, but yeah, it is. I mean, think about it. It adds up.
I'd love to own a haunted location like that and sell it, tickets to it. Come on in. See if we can get the ghosts to go. I mean, he sounds like he really has the inside knowledge of it, too, where he can interact with the ghosts even though he won't mow the lawn or anything. I will not show up to mow the lawn. Not gonna happen.
He's got an excuse to not do anything he doesn't want to do.
Exactly.
But I don't believe in Bigfoot still.
I still don't believe in Bigfoot. You cannot make me believe in that.
Or demons.
Yeah, no way. No way. No way.
Sounds like the ghosts in the house are pretty friendly and interactive. It doesn't sound particularly frightening.
No, we're not really, other than the lady cooking, the kids jumping on your lap, all the ghosty stuff that's going on, according to Phil. And his
it could
wife.
get annoying.
It would get annoying. It would get unnerving awfully quick. Oh, I just wanted to throw out there as well, our good friends Minnesota Ghost Box, they have a new show out, by the way. Part 3 of the Soap Factory investigation. You're going to check that out. Go over to YouTube, search out Minnesota Ghost Box, and it'll be right there. Man, they have a lot of viewers, that video. It's really, really cool. I'm glad that Greg and the folks over there are doing so well with that thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But I just want to let everyone know that as well. On a side note, because we really don't have enough time for another story, I'm going to try to find one that's really short here, because there's a ton of them out there. Did you see the thing that washed up on the shores?
Yeah.
Did you
really
see that?
Big, huge, blobby thing. Yeah, they finally decided almost certainly that it is a baleen whale.
Is that what they think it is? Because I posted that to the group as well, and everybody's looking at going, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, it definitely has a spine. It has a backbone, so it's a mammal, and it's not a invertebrate. The original claims were that it was a squid of some sort, and a massive giant squid, but it definitely has bones, and squids do not have bones.
No, they do not.
It is almost certainly a whale.
So it turned out to be a whale. It wasn't like anything from Uranus or anything. So, no space aliens.
Hopefully not. Or even Neptune.
You just never know. But, I don't know, man. Weird things are going on. I know we're discovering new animals every day. I think the seas, though, need more attention. Deep sea, because we have no idea what's down there.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating. Yeah, actually, you bring that up. It's interesting. I think it was just yesterday that I saw a partial list of all the new creatures that were discovered just in the last year. It was thousands.
And this is all
every year.
Deep sea, right?
Every year.
Yeah, deep sea.
No,
creatures.
this is anything. This is
anything
from bugs to any kind of creature, any sort of fauna, anything not a plant, shall we say.
Interesting.
But, there's all kinds of discoveries, even mammals, larger things every single year. But, yes, the sea itself, they think maybe we know and have categorized and named perhaps 10%.
Oh, wow. So
Think
that's
about
it?
Yeah.
10%? That's all we've discovered?
That's it.
That's 10% of everything on Earth? Damn.
I believe that was the sea. Of course, a lot of it's bugs, right? So there's an infinite, seemingly, number of bugs. But yeah, it's still, we know so little. And just remember, it's recent. It's decades, just decades, that mountain gorillas were identified by science anyway. Of course, the indigenous people were well aware of them, but science, mountain gorillas just discovered in the last 20, 30 years.
That is true. They did not think that they existed. And then they found the hobbits. They have actually found hobbits.
Yes, but those are pre-humans.
Yeah, but not Shire hobbits, though. That's the bad part.
No, not Shire.
And
that's a fascinating story. Now, all of a sudden, they've been debating what they are, and were they just some sort of stunted growth people? Were they modern humans with some sort of, birth defect or something like that? Because they're super tiny. They're only 3 feet tall.
Yeah, they're just little guys.
They finally decided, yes, they definitely are their own species. And so they're not something else. They're not deformed. They are their own thing. But they thought previously, till just very recently, last weeks, months maybe, that these hobbits, the Homo florensis, because that's the name of or something like that, that's the name of the island they were found on, that they existed in the 40, 50, 60, 70,000 year range, that's how old they were. Well, now they're finding that they go back at least as far as
man,
300,000 years.
We're always seeing that we are around a lot longer than we realize, even our own species. We
Absolutely.
keep pushing the envelope of how long even humankind has been around.
Well, now they're saying it wasn't just one foray out of Africa that humans, but there were several. And so occurring at different times, and then they would loop around and meet up with each other again, and they've split off, and it's really, really fascinating and just ever evolving. I mean, literally day by day, week by week, we are learning new things. Brand new, there appeared to have been some sort of human or pre-human now in North America as long ago as 200,000 to 300,000 years
that
ago.
Would explain a lot of things, though.
Completely contradicts what the archaeological line of reasoning has been until now. It was thought to be much more recent.
Yeah, that would explain so much as far as some of the architecture that we found that was ancient. And we never thought that we could have done it as human species because they didn't think we're around yet. But clearly we were.
Right, exactly.
Clearly we were around to do that. We got to run a break, man. We come back. We're going to play a creepypasta right away. So you're not going to want to miss this break because we're at the end of it. We're going to give you Oh, let's do Great Expectations from CREEPYPASTA. You're not going to want to miss that. Be right back, right after this.
It's hard to believe it was just last night when it all hit me. I fell on the floor and watched the ceiling fan go round.
Hey, you're listening to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If pop culture is to be believed, roughly 40% of all people are actually vampires, or dating one. Well, undead or not, you can always save on a clean, comfortable room at Motel 6, even if you sleep during the day because direct sunlight turns you into a pile of sparkly coffee grounds. Speaking of which, we have free coffee every morning. You day sleepers may want to go for the decaf. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness.
Please, God, help me to release this demon!
When the pressure began to build in my bladder, waking me from a deep, tranquil slumber. Quickly, I made my way towards the lavatory, lowering my pajama bottoms down to my knees and exposing my hairless fanny to the cool night air. I hastened my pace to the restroom, as I could now feel a tiny droplet of Mother Nature's Minute Maid beginning to form at the tip of my urethra. Once there, I released a glorious stream of golden liquid onto the Kohler brand commode before me, only slightly splashing the seat. It was a wondrous sensation. I felt the tingle of a shiver run up my spine upon conclusion of my masterful matriculation, typically an indication of a successful and relieving bathroom voyage. As I turned around to wash my hands, I caught sight of my reflection. It was there that I witnessed the most horrifying and abhorrent sight my old eyes have ever seen. Even though mine were wide and unwinking, my reflections blinked. I screamed into the mirror as again and again my reflection opened and closed its eyes with an increasing ferocity. That's when the blood came. Oh, the horror. Blood flowed from the eyes of my blinking reflection like blood flowing from a blinking reflection's eyes. The crimson vital fluid broke through the glass and began to fill my house. I tried to run, but my pajama bottoms were still around my knees because I had a tendency to dribble after urinating and didn't want to soil my SpongeBob sleepwear. I opened a window and was promptly flushed from my home in a waterfall of bloody blood. I got up from the pavement and dried myself. That was when I first laid eyes on him. The pale man with the black eyes and pointed teeth, who is also my child's imaginary friend, and he's veiny too. He opened his mouth and let out a howl. His teeth were sharp and brown like a snake who drinks too much coffee. I tried to run, but he caught up, connecting his foot to my head with a leaping sidekick. I removed the semi-automatic pistol from the hidden pocket of my 98% cotton Squidward t-shirt and fired 6 shots at him. The pale man with black eyes and pointed teeth, who was also my child's imaginary friend and is veiny too, was too fast, though. He dodged each bullet and landed an incredibly swift Balrog-esque punch combo that sent me reeling. I was able to counter his next attack, though. Finally, my years of capoeira training paid off when I knocked him to the ground with a jumping, spinning, back-flipping crescent kick to the cranium. I stood over his defeated body, abs glistening in the moonlit night. "It's over," I said. "You've lost." But instead of begging for mercy, the pale man with black eyes and pointed teeth, who is also my child's imaginary friend, and he's veiny too, let out a grotesque laugh that made me wince in fear. "It's never over," he muttered. "You're already dead." And he was right. Because I was. Then I woke up because it was all a dream that I could never truly be sure I've ever woken up from. And aliens.
Wow, wasn't that creepy, Eric?
That was super creepy.
Wasn't that creepy? That was scary. Now, of course, that's one of the stories you can hear over there at the CREEPYPASTA YouTube channel. And he also has the new CREEPYPASTA Volume 2 of stories out there you can buy, of course, at better bookstores. And we will be talking to Mr. CreepyPasta at the top of next hour. So after each break, you're going to hear a snippet, one of the small little short stories from the YouTube channel. Now, without further ado, it's time for America's Most Haunted Headlines, brought to you by America's Most Haunted and Wayward Souls Promotions. That is our promotion people there, Eric. So,
Yay!
Promote us. So,
promote up a stream.
Exactly. So it's time for those headlines, man. So what you got going on this week?
All right, my friends, as always, head on over to Twitter. Twitter.com/AMHaunted. It's the America's Most Haunted Twitter feed, where you will daily receive all things paranormal, spooky, and amaze-mo. Absolutely, my friends. All right, here's the latest internet sensation. This just came out the last day or two. Take a look at this picture, and again, that's why we really encourage you to actually look at the feed rather than just listen to it, so you can see the pictures and you can follow the links. All right, this is a screenshot from a video.
That's creepy,
man. This creepy peeping Tom who's looking in a window. He's peering in the window. You can see the reflection of a light above the figure's head from inside. Is that, in fact, a ghost?
I don't know. Good question. That's creepy as hell, though. I'll give it that.
Very, very creepy.
I would not want that looking back at me.
No, not in my window.
I'm
Absolutely
good.
not.
I am good. No, thank you. Do not look back at me if you're outside like that. Nope, I'm good.
What's really interesting, beyond the picture itself, about the story is the guy who shot the footage is a paranormal investigator himself, and he says he summoned this figure to his house using an audio program. Let's see, what does he call that? You can actually hear the sound if you play the video.
Why would you want to summon that to your house?
I don't know. It claims he lured the ghost to his property, and let's see. I'm trying to get exactly what program he used. He was able to isolate a low-frequency signal that appeared in the background of tons of my evidence. I played the frequency every night for a week, eventually succeeding in my efforts to lure, he's calling it a black-eyed kid, into my camera trap. We can't see the eyes.
No, it kind of looks like a hippie to me. If you look at it, really good. It looks like there's long hair there.
Does look like you know what I mean? It's a young man or a teenager with longer hair.
Exactly. Yeah, like hippie looking. You know what I mean?
A little bit, maybe. I can't tell. Is there any facial hair?
Not that I see. That
no,
no, not that I see anyway.
I'm not sure what do you think is making us think it's a male figure? What about that makes us? I thought it too.
I think it's the features. It's the features. They just look manly. The features do.
Okay.
They don't strike me as female.
Picture. Yeah. I agree. I agree with you entirely. So you guys should check that out. Check it out. Go to the AM Haunted, America's Most Haunted Twitter feed. Check out that image, and it's all over the internet as well. I got it from a story in The Sun from the UK, although it is supposedly an American ghost hunter, and this film came from the U.S. All right, it's right around the corner, May 21st. We are almost there. Twin Peaks returns after 26 years with many of the same people from the original cast, including Agent Dale Cooper.
So why are they bringing it back? Did they ever say? Because it wasn't horribly popular, during its original run, because it only did 2 seasons.
Well, the first season was extremely popular, and then it really ran out of steam the second season. And so there was hope because there was a movie. There was a film, remember Firewalk with Me?
Yeah.
And that really wasn't very good. They lost the thread. That first season was extremely popular. It was very highly rated. People were just fanatically absorbed into it. And I guess just those involved, the cast, obviously Lynch being the creator and the director, felt that there was still something left to say. I mean, the mystery was solved to a certain extent anyway. We found out who killed Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the mystery was solved, but that world, the milieu, as they say, was so popular and was so evocative, and people felt so drawn to it. I think that's it even more than the story. It's that town. It's that atmosphere. It's the music. It was so atmospheric. I remember being utterly absorbed in it the whole first season.
Was it too highbrow, though, for a lot of the audience? Do you think that's why it kind of ran out of steam during the second season? Because it was too atmospheric, too...
I don't know if it's so much highbrow. It was very stylized. So, I mean, it might have been too stylized. But that stylization, I guess is the word. Like I said, it really worked the first season, but it just kind of really petered out.
Yeah, I get you. I know exactly
it was very difficult to sustain.
Yes,
I guess, and so it just petered out, and the ratings really dropped off, and it only lasted 2 seasons. So we'll see. I mean, who knows? It
might do great. Who knows? I'm waiting for the X-Files to come back.
Ooh, me too.
I can't wait for that. That's the one I'm waiting for. But Twin Peaks, I'll check it out. See if it's any good. Because I know Wayward Pines was kind of a Twin Peaky feel.
It did, absolutely. Especially that first season.
Yep.
That's another one. That first season, it was a summer replacement show.
Yep.
I loved that first season. It was weird. It was surprising. It was scary.
Wasn't that done by M. Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong?
It was, yes.
Yeah, that was his
caught
baby.
me off guard. But the second season, just didn't sustain it.
Really.
It's hard. It's hard to sustain.
Well, you had, who was in that first one? Matt Dillon was in that first season.
Yes,
and he played the hell out of that.
It was great. It was a very good cast the first year.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir, it was. So what we got next?
All right. Moving on. Hey, did you know that they did finally open a Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios Hollywood? That was several years after the original opened in Orlando.
I had no idea. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, and you're probably going to fly to Minnesota and beat me about the face and neck, but I've never seen a Harry Potter movie.
I know. I would be shocked, but you've told me that before.
Yeah. I gotta watch at least a couple of them. I have to. I keep telling myself
you might
this.
as well go in chronological order.
Well,
they really are good movies.
Yeah, we
and
own
I
all
had
of
not.
them.
I was jaded. I really was. I did not want to buy into the hype, so I had not read any of the books. So I didn't come in through the book door. I saw, I think, the first 3 movies, and each one I liked better than the one before, especially the third one. I love the third one. That's still my favorite, actually, the third one. And at that point, I said, I am really drawn to this world. And then I started reading the books. And I didn't go back and read the first 3 books because I'd already seen the movie, So I just read 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
And then saw the movies, of course, when they came out. It is really, really good. I got to tell you.
I know.
If you're a kid, it is really absorbing. It exists on many, many layers. J.K. Rowling really skillfully blended the myths of so many different cultures, especially, obviously, from the British Isles, but the foundational core myths of so many different cultures, and she made them her own. And this character of Harry Potter, I mean, it's indelible, and they're not going away.
I will check it out. I will. We have each and every one of them on Blu-ray, I want to say. And I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch. I've been so busy seeing like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then, of course, watching all the DVD. I get a lot of DVDs in the mail to review and kind of go, oh, yeah, it's a good movie, yep. And then a lot of them have been flops lately, to be completely honest with you. A lot of the horror movies, like The Bye-Bye Man, but don't wait bye-bye to your bank account, all right? I'd wait till it hits Netflix before I would even buy it, to be honest with you. Just letting you know that, Eric.
I know that one did not get very good reviews.
No. I was a little dumber for sitting through it.
I hate it when that happens.
Exactly.
This new wizarding world of Harry Potter. So, this whole very large portion of the theme park at Universal Studios Hollywood, which now is there like at Universal Studios Orlando, which we actually went, whole family, we went to the actual opening. We were there for preview, the press preview, and then the actual day it opened. It was very exciting. Anyway, brand new, super cool light show will be going on all summer, lighting up Hogwarts at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Man, go check it out. Sounds like a good time. Definitely, I'm going to have to check it out a little bit.
All right. Now, I don't normally retweet that much. I mean, once or twice a week I retweet something.
Sure.
I definitely, if something's directed to me and I think it's cool and want to help people out, definitely. So, I mean, feel free to point anything in my direction. I may or may not be able to retweet it. But this one, oh my God, I thought this was about as funny as it gets. All right, so it's an actual retweet. So the original tweet is from President Donald Trump.
Okay. I see this going on now.
All right, so what Trump tweeted was, "This is the single greatest witch hunt of a politician in American history."
Okay.
All right, now Seth Moulton, who is apparently the representative for that area, or for a certain area, I should say, of Massachusetts, retweeted Trump, and then added, "As the representative of Salem, Mass, I can confirm that this is false." There was a real witch hunt.
I'm glad that he went ahead and confirmed that this is not a witch hunt. Even though you think it is.
It's not the single greatest witch
hunt.
No,
it's not the single greatest, not
in
even
American
the best
history.
ever. It's yeah.
So, do you know how many likes Seth Moulton, Representative Moulton, has got for that tweet?
How many did he get?
222,000.
Wow.
And counting. 100,000 retweets.
Wow, take that, President Trump.
All right, so there we go. Moving along. All right, I love this picture. All right, I have never really. Do you recall seeing these statues? I don't remember seeing these before.
Oh yeah, I love your caption even better.
Oh, I do too.
You know what? I'm gonna say it.
Myself on the back.
I am going to say it, and I know I'll probably get in trouble, but no offense, but you're all dickheads. I had to say it. It was a beautifully, masterfully done.
So what it kind of loses something when I have to explain it.
Well,
so
yeah.
You guys should go to the Twitter feed, twitter.com/amhaunted. But anyway, these statues, I guess they're all over this island that's at the southern end of South Korea, okay? And they're not ancient. They're not like the Easter Island heads, which go way back. These are just hundreds of years old, apparently.
Somebody felt like carving things that look like penises, evidently, with bases.
Exactly. They, on top of each one of these figures' heads is, looks like a
mushroom.
A wiener tip.
Exactly.
And so, again, the quote, it's a quote. I didn't say it. You didn't say it. We're just quoting it.
We are quoting the caption.
No offense.
No offense. Exactly. So, we're just repeating what is already out there.
It's already out there. Our hands are tied.
We had to.
You can't blame us.
No.
We're just doing our journalistic duty,
That's
my friend.
That's it. We are fair and balanced, gosh darn it. Wait a minute.
All right,
Who else
moving along. All right, so we know that we had to lose Sasha at the end of the last season of The Walking Dead.
Yes.
You know why?
Why?
Because she's the star of the upcoming Star Trek Discovery series.
Really? I love Star Trek. I will take Star Trek over Star Wars any day of the week.
New series coming to not CBS television, but the CBS streaming.
Really? Wow. That's a big move.
But if you look at the trailer, and the first trailer is now out, I mean, it looks like very high production quality.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it looks like real TV. CBS All Access. I don't know what's on there now. Do you? Do you know anything about CBS All Access?
I've only heard about it in passing. Let me Google quick.
It is the CBS streaming entity. And let's see, when will this be debuting, the show itself? Like I said, you can check out the trailer for it. It looks really good.
Yeah, you gotta pay for it. It's what is it, $6 a month.
So it's their Netflix, that kind of thing.
Pretty much, but it's only got ABC shows on it.
Or CBS.
Or CBS, rather. Sorry. Like A Good Wife, Star Trek, NCIS, Blue Bloods. That's all there.
So it's like it's more like Hulu.
It's more like a Hulu, only they're doing catering only to CBS brands. They claim that there's 8,500 different episodes on demand already on CBS streaming, which, if you're going to go in the Wayback Machine and do Gunsmoke and everything, I suppose you could get all that.
Sure.
And because I'm looking at it, and they also do a fair bit of retro TV on there as well.
Okay. All right, well, that makes sense. And obviously CBS has a long and proud history, so that could be well worthwhile. But this will be a brand new show. It's a continuation of the Star Trek saga, and that will be coming to CBS All Access. And Sonequa Martin Green, who was Sasha on The Walking Dead, is the star, the headlining star of the show.
So this will be a online only show. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so
streaming
will not
only. Exactly.
Yeah, streaming only, will not hit the airwaves or cable box or anything like that. It'll be streaming only. Okay, so they're doing what Netflix has done, what Hulu has done, what Amazon has done, and now they are going to dip their toes in the streaming only. There must be writing on the wall that they see that we don't.
Well, I guess they're going to try it out. People are, especially young people, but not only young people, are really getting in this habit of binging. And so when all the episodes are released at the same time, people sit there and watch it straight through. Yeah. And we're beginning to find out that is not healthy, including for your mental health. It causes depression.
Oh God, yeah. Because when you're done, what do you do with yourself? I sat down and I watched every season of Breaking Bad. I binged on it, man.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. It was like a holiday weekend. It just hit Netflix at that point. And I watched every season in a row. Oh my God. It was mind-numbingly, really, it was not good. It really
was like
wasn't.
You go into another dimension.
Yeah,
or something,
exactly. And so then you get consumed by the show and nothing else matters.
Right, and exactly, and so physically it's not healthy because you're just sitting there, and for a very extended period of time, and plus you're absorbed into this world, and in a sense you feel like you can't escape till it's over, and then it's over, and like
then it holds you, holds you down, and it won't let you leave. Because I know a lot of people are binging that 13 Reasons Why right now.
Oh,
that's
man,
the big
talk
one.
About
to binge.
unhealthy.
I know, right? Wow, that depression coming, your mainlining depression right there, man. That show.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that just seems dangerous.
That is the bingeable thing, right? I know when Needful Things, when Stranger Things hits Netflix, I know I'll end up binging it. I know I will. I'm not gonna play around.
Just don't normally have the time, so it's not really much of a threat to me. I'll watch an episode here and there until I'm finally caught up.
About 5 years ago, I introduced, maybe 4, my wife Jennifer to The Walking Dead. And she'd never seen it before. And I had all the episodes on DVD up until that point. I think we're into 3rd season. She sat and watched The Walking Dead, all 3 seasons, like in 2 days.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I couldn't get her away from it. I could not get her. Oh, my God. She says it's the greatest show ever. That kind of thing. So, yeah, she was a binging away. And she got kind of irritated because, like, leave me alone. I'm watching The Walking Dead, that kind of thing. So we've all done
addiction.
that. Yes.
It can be, you show at least some of the signs of addiction.
Yes.
So, yeah,
we've all
be
been
careful
there.
with that, you people out there.
That's right.
We care about you.
Well, the only thing I like to binge is my booze. I'm kidding.
Binge and purge. All righty then. Oh, I love this picture. It's so cool. It's really just an ad for a trip. It's
to Mexico.
In our fave travel, or one of our favorite travel publications online, Atlas Obscura. We talk about it quite a bit.
We do.
And they are taking a trip down to the Yucatan Peninsula for the Day of the Dead celebration.
Okay,
so you're going to get the real McCoy heading down there.
The real deal, Day of the Dead. I've never been down there for Day of the Dead.
Oh, I have not either.
I should do that one of these days. I used to go to Tijuana quite a bit in my youth when I lived in Texas. We'd drive down a Tijuana way. We'd go that way to Tijuana.
Well, being originally from Southern California, we used to go down to Mexico fairly often, but that's kind of that northwestern corner of the country. But we did go to Yucatan, and we had a lot of fun.
You gotta go to TJ, man. You gotta go to TJ, Tijuana. That is debauchery
I've been
center.
there. You want to hear the first thing I heard when I broke away from the family and was
What
wandering
did you
around
hear?
by myself at about 14 years old? I can't believe I was allowed to do that. About the first thing I heard was, "Hey, mister, you want to try my sister? She's still a virgin." No, thank you. I'm looking for switchblades and explosives.
I remember when I was in TJ, it was the Donkey Show. They were doing those. You've heard of those, right? I didn't sit in. I knew exactly what they're talking about, but my Lord, other people did go in and they came out just traumatized.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh my God! I had no idea that's what they meant.
I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's Tijuana for you. I like that.
I don't think it pays well enough.
Hey, Meester, I got my sister here, Meester. She's still a virgin, Meester.
She's still a virgin.
still a virgin.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with selling that.
Yeah,
just not to me.
That'll work.
Yeah.
All right, one more quick one. We only have a minute or two here. Super fascinating because we keep talking about this. They keep finding archaeological reasons to believe that many of the stories of the Bible that have been heretofore thought probably were myth have at least some truth. And the latest one is they think they've found proof of the Tower of Babel.
Really? Very, very cool, man. That is so cool because, like you said, time and time again, we're seeing more correlation. The Bible stories actually hold weight, that they actually did happen. They're finding physical evidence of this.
It's amazing. It really is.
It really is.
It makes you, it gives you new respect. I mean, no matter how much you respect the Bible as a religious
text, but
text, how does it hold up as history? Well, It's holding up fairly well.
It is. But, oh, man, it's 9 o'clock. We got to run to Fox News. We come back. Mr. CREEPYPasta be joining us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney.
You have to act properly, and you have to learn how to act under great, great pressure.
President Trump, addressing graduates of the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut, is under plenty of pressure himself after news reports raised suspicions that he may have interfered with an FBI investigation. Fox's Jared Halpern has the latest live on Capitol Hill.
Ousted FBI Director James Comey has been requested by multiple congressional committees to answer questions about a memo he wrote detailing President Trump's request to end an investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
I think people in America turn on the TV and they think this is all that's happening. This is all we're doing and all we're discussing. That's just not the case.
House Speaker Paul Ryan does not endorse a special prosecutor or independent panel, noting the two different congressional panels are already investigating all things Russia. Kathleen.
Thanks, Jared. A Senate aide says the Intelligence Committee has received some material it requested from two of the president's associates. The committee asked for lists of meetings with Russian officials during the presidential campaign and transition. President Trump interviewed possible FBI directors to succeed James Comey at the White House, among them acting director Andrew McCabe, former Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating, FBI official Richard McFeely, and former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman. Heavy losses on Wall Street as investors react to the turmoil in Washington.
I think people are concerned about the presidency, and there was a lot of optimism after he got elected.
He's kind of wondering when was the bottom going to come in. This looks like it might actually be it.
The Dow plunging 372 points, S&P sinking 43 points, NASDAQ falling 158 points. It is the worst close for the markets since last September. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced. This just in, the Justice Department has appointed former FBI head Robert Mueller to oversee an investigation into the Trump-Russia connection in the 2016 election, picking up the pieces in the central part of the country.
2 deaths blamed on a powerful system of storms that caused tornadoes from Texas up to the Great Lakes states, and forecasters say there's still a big risk of severe weather in the upper Midwest today. Then the threat shifts back to the lower plains Thursday. Right now, first responders searching for any other potential victims as anxious residents return home. A very difficult day for those who lost a loved one or are returning to a flattened house. In Wisconsin, the Barron County Sheriff describes the damage of a mobile home park as total devastation, and in Oklahoma, up to 75 homes destroyed. In Chicago, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Milwaukee County Sheriff David Cook has accepted a job as Assistant Secretary in the Department of Homeland Security. He's popular among conservatives and a strong supporter of President Trump's immigration policies. Michael Moore is going after President Trump again.
He has secretly been filming a new documentary titled Fahrenheit 11/9, which refers to the date Mr. Trump became president-elect. It is also a play on words from his 2004 George W. Bush documentary, Fahrenheit 9/11. According to Page 6, the Weinstein Group acquired worldwide rights to the film, which they will shop at the Cannes Film Festival. Moore said of his newest project, no matter what you throw at Donald Trump, it hasn't worked. That all ends with this movie. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Republican Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina appears to be okay after collapsing during a Washington, D.C. road race. He was taken away by ambulance, but has posted a Twitter video from his hospital bed saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm fine." I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
And welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
Eric, man, we got a great guest on tap, and I have wanted to talk to this gentleman for a long time. I'm giddy with enthusiasm.
I am, too. I really am. I'm very excited that we are starting to do a little better job of dipping into the alternative media, which it's pretty hard to call the internet alternative media these days. But nonetheless, YouTubers, this will be our second, and this guy, he's even better known than, remember when we had Sunshine Girl?
We did. We had Dark Waters on as well. He's a YouTuber that does stories, but nowhere near the magnitude of this gentleman.
No. Just when you thought you had recovered from the CREEPYPASTA collection, YouTube sensation MrCreepyPasta returns with a whole new hoard of creepy tales deemed too terrifying for the offline world. Until now. The CREEPYPASTA Collection Volume 2 harvests demented short stories from the darkest corners of the internet for your amusement and terrorization. These stories take root in your mind, haunt your waking life, and come alive in your dreams and nightmares. You won't be able to sleep with the light on or off after experiencing the misadventures of the book's heroes and heroines who encounter everything from the deeply suspicious to the fully unhinged, with stories that range from haunted paintings, ocean dwellers with a taste for human flesh, eerily calm stalkers, to the iconic Jeff the Killer and panic-inducing smiling dog. This collection of 20 stories is the perfect gift for creepypasta fans and horror enthusiasts alike. MrCreepyPasta presents the best of the most terrifying short stories of the web via his 1.2 million subscriber YouTube channel, which have been viewed 176 million times as of May 2017. He has worked with Fox Studios and One Up Box and has been interviewed for Chilling Tales podcast, Double Toasted, and all kinds of college radio stations and papers. He regularly speaks at conventions across the nation on horror, comic books, and pop culture. Welcome to the program, MrCreepyPasta.
That's a hell of an intro. Thank you so much.
That was, wasn't it? He always does that. Everyone always says that. Wow, man, it made me sound great. Really impressive. Now, when you started out, Mr. Creepypasta, or Creepypasta, how would you like to be addressed for this interview? So it's a little more able to be
wielded.
wielded.
Way is most people call me MCP.
All right, MCP. That's what we're going to call you, MCP. When you started out, now what got you interested in doing the YouTube thing? I mean, obviously you're a lover of horror, but what kind of got you to want to dive into it the way you have?
Well, when I started this was 6 years ago. So YouTube was a completely different place than it is right now. Back in when I started, everybody kind of had their own YouTube channel, but none were really professionally done unless they were done by a big studio was putting together some kind of channel for doing news or doing ABC or something like that, showing clips of their shows on television. So a lot of these things were just very strange, small shows that people are putting together at home, cooking shows people are putting together at home. And at the time, I was going to this website called CreepyPasta.com, and the website was being sold off. So a lot of the authors there were up in debate whether or not their stories were just going to get thrown away, just deleted forever. So my idea, while I was in college into old radio shows and stuff, was that I would make a YouTube channel where I would just read stories and it would just be pure audio. There wouldn't be any kind of visual whatsoever. And I could be able to preserve some of those stories as radio dramas or as audio dramas. So that's what I kind of got started doing. I decided to do that to help preserve it. and also because a girl I liked had a really big interest in horror, so that kind of helped out as well.
That does help a little bit. Yeah, it's always nice.
Ulterior motives.
Exactly. I love those motives. Now, of course, I really want to listen on the YouTube channel, and of course, reading the book. And I suggest everyone go out there and get CREEPYPASTA Volume 2. You're not going to be disappointed. Great stuff. But I really akin them to more of a theater of the mind kind of broadcasting, which is sorely lacking these days. They don't do that anymore because our mind can conjure up such a more horrible visual than any movie can.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, that's one of the things that actually makes CREEPYPASTA really good online, is that it always goes with that really kind of ambiguous killer, ambiguous creature, or something like that. Something that's usually held in by the authors to be somewhat vague, but gives you an idea of what they can do without what they really are, which really lets you use that theater of the mind to create something that's more terrifying than what the author can come up with. I think that's kind of what makes CREEPYPASTA so special. Same thing like Candle Cove and things like that, where a lot of it just looks like an imitation of something that could be in real life. Yeah. That just kind of is presented to you without really any explanation besides the one event that's there.
Very, very cool. Eric, I know you're a big fan of theater of the mind stuff too. Yeah, I mean,
of course. I mean, it's radio. It's radio theater,
exactly.
And I enjoy that very much. The presentation, you're combining the best elements, or some of the best elements, of reading in and of itself, which is very much a cerebral and internal kind of process. You are reading the words, you are visualizing, you are thinking about it, you're playing it out, really, a book, especially a story, in your mind as you're reading along. So this is taking the best elements of that, but adding the audio component. And as Marshall McLuhan said, radio is a warm medium, whereas TV is a very cool medium. So it's kind of a warm on warm sort of thing. And you really identify with that voice, and that voice is leading you through this tale and conjuring up these images. And MrCreepyPasta does it very, very well.
Definitely. Well, you've also had some iconic figures come from the CREEPYPASTA universe. Slender Man will be one of them. And then, of course, Jeff the Killer. Now, there's like the Slender Man, he's really branched out into other media now, video games and a lot of different things. Do you kind of sit back like a proud papa and kind of watch it explode the way it has?
I always love seeing like stuff grow really big like that, but Slender Man wasn't like my thing. Like, really, like at the end of the day, I am like just a voice actor. I'm an actor, like for the most part. Like, I do some writing here and there, but the Slender Man came from a forum on the website Something Awful. Now, I know that the creator for Slender Man, oh my God, he has gotten all kinds of popularity and all kind of happiness from seeing it grow up to be as big as it is. I know, like, whenever I see stuff that comes out for Slender Man, I'm always extremely happy to see it. Anything that comes out of CREEPYPASTA, I'm always extremely happy to see it. Whenever, like, new books or comics or things like that come out, and especially when the Slender Man video game got so huge, like, because it exploded when Slender first came out online. YouTubers was eating that up, kids were eating that up, and I thought that was like incredible. Anything that started off as an internet rumor, which is what it was. It was like a contest to see if somebody could make an urban legend out of nothing. Like, to see something go from that, like a small idea on a forum, become something as large as like mainstream media, mainstream gaming. Like, that's just incredible stuff, man. It's what every like small author online, I believe, like always wants for their own creations.
Why do you think that Slender Man in particular found that kind of an audience so quickly? And yeah, we knew where he came from, but it was through CREEPYPASTA, wasn't it, that a lot of the backstory and the fleshing out happened? Isn't that where a lot of the tales and the lore came together there? Why do you think Slender Man specifically has had such an impact, and so much so that it's had real world impact as it's turned out, unfortunately?
Oh yeah, I think it's just because Slender Man, like itself, as like the creation of that creature, became what creepypastas have been known to be, which is just creating something that is an urban legend and makes you question whether or not it could be real or fake. And I mean, like, many other creepypastas have done that. Like their ideas, like the Rake had done that, the Smile Dog had done that, because it's all done up in a format where it could be real, it could be actual accounts. You're not sure where it all actually originated from, so you can come up with your own stories or read other people who say that they've seen things or say that they've heard things. But the main thing is that Slender Man was just done so well. It's done so long ago at this point, because technology moves so fast. A couple of years suddenly becomes a long time, and it became it was the first one to do it, I think. It was the first creature to come out of that kind of idea. That's why it became so impactful, because other people can eventually trace through and say, like, oh, Jeff the Killer came from this one kid who was writing it on DeviantArt, and the Rake all came down to this one photograph. But because so many people came together and then started spreading it like wildfire from that one forum, it kind of became harder to track where Slenderman came from. And I think, like, Know Your Meme and stuff like that eventually they track stuff down and they keep it as in order. But even still, many people don't want to believe that that's real. They're saying, like, no, Slenderman existed before that. He just took an idea that existed, because it's just how urban legends spread, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly. And the internet has spawned a whole new place to have urban legends. And in fact, using the internet as part of the story of the urban legend, like Smile Dog, for instance. You would see the Smile Dog if you didn't show it to someone else, or I forget how that one went. It was so a little while ago that you would see something horrible if you didn't share Smile Dog. And kind of like the Ring movies also were kind of like a creepypasta feel as well. The video, if you see the video, 7 days you will die. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what makes it so viral, too, is that, now if somebody ends up finding it, then they're going to think, like, oh, now I have to share it. Like those old chain letters.
Yep.
Used to get in your emails. I actually used to think that those were, like, probably where the idea of creepypastas, things that are copied and pasted and sent around, actually probably came from, was chain letters.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think those were the original. The scary chain letter. Now, if you don't share this with 10 of your closest friends, you will get warts where you don't want them. That kind of thing. Yes.
Genital warts.
Exactly. Midgets will come busting into your house and beat you.
You're a dickhead.
God. Exactly. Well, you also have a lot of really talented writers and staff. And were a lot of these folks the holdovers from when you purchased the Creepypasta website, or these new folks as well?
The people that you're referring to, like the ones in the book, like the authors I'm working with in the book.
Yeah,
those are all the authors I worked with in the book. And that means, like, the first one and the second one were all friends and people that I've worked with, like, for the past 6 years. Like, honestly, when Adams Media, who's the original publisher, and now it's Simon & Schuster, when the original publisher had contacted me, they wanted me to just write anything. They were like, yeah, go ahead and write an autobiography or something about being a YouTuber, and then we want to put it out there. And I was like, oh, I don't write a whole lot. I kind of write fiction more than anything, and I don't think I'd be best suited for writing a book that you guys want to sell. But I told them, like, instead, let's talk to the authors that I've used on my channel, the things that people come to see me for. Let's get the ones that are incredibly talented but haven't had the opportunity to be, like, out there. People don't really see their names that often. Let's give them an opportunity for people to be able to see their names and put them into a book. So these are all people that I've worked with. And, I mean, they're guys who are, like incredibly heavy hitters. Vincent Venicava is going out in, like, a book with some of these really huge authors later on this year. And then we have kids that are like 17. I think Isaac, who is in the first and the second book, he's 17 years old. He's just incredibly talented. So even when we were, like, getting, like, I was sending out stuff to people like, okay, we got to get these so you can get paid. You got to get these so that we can get permission to use your story. He had to have a form for him and a form for his parents because he wasn't old enough to actually sign the forms on his own. But I wanted to make sure that he was in the book because, like, with the talent that he has, he's going to go places. And I want to make sure people are able to see him, like, they actually see his name on things. And he can say, like, yes, I'm published in this book. This book's done really well. Yeah. These are all people that, like, I'm incredibly proud to be able to work with.
Hey, I have a question. Now that you're working really in two different media, have you noticed that some things that work better in your YouTube, your audio visual presentation versus being in print? Have you noticed that there's a certain kind that works better one way or the other, or were you surprised? Just any thoughts along those lines. I'm always interested in how media interact and how different material or the same material is transformed actually by the media. Again, kind of a Marshall McLuhan thing where the media is the message.
Yeah, and I mean, there are definitely some things I think that translate towards like the audio side more, and those are usually ones that are like just pure audio drama scripts. Really, the one thing I was surprised to see is that when I expect people to buy the book, like people I expected that would go out and want to look for it would be kind of like the older spectrum of my audience.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, oh yeah, the more higher interest in reading would be probably like college age or older that want to go off and have a book, because generally kids, you know, they're watching on their cell phones and stuff like that, watching during class, like in middle school or high school, and they're not really that interested in actually reading for themselves. They want to just have it read to them. But I was actually really surprised. Like every time I've been doing like a signing for the books and stuff like that, like I'll have really young kids that just want to come out and they want to pick up a book and they want to be able to read it. And I was surprised that that's the case, but they just want to read horror things that they've seen on YouTube and they want to be able to hold it in their hands. It was the same thing when Five Nights at Freddy's was so big.
Mm-hmm.
Things that were like really big as like a video game, and then he started releasing novels for them that everybody was thinking was kind of an oddity. But surprisingly, kids that were into the game wanted to be able to pick up and read the novel. Just because I think they have it, as long as there's like that kind of draw of interest, and they wanted to be able to read it. But I mean, in all honesty, I think the only things that really don't work out so well in the book are just ones that are really audio driven. Things where you're describing like that feeling of being in a bed and listening to sounds and happening in your room, and that feeling of audio and the ability to use other sound effects and in a 3D spectrum around whenever you're listening with headphones. Those are the only real things that really, really work well with audio that you can't do in a book, because it's hard to describe. Like you hear it from your left, and then all of a sudden you hear it when it's just in text.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I was going to ask you, how did you pick and choose the stories for both volumes 1 and now the new volumes 2? Was it really hard to kind of, because they're all so well written? It was a pretty hard vetting process.
It was for a lot of these. Like I had to. There was one story in the first book with Vincent Venicapa. I was like struggling with him because I'm like, I got to put it in here because I know it's really good, and he didn't really want to because he doesn't like his writing style for the story. Which is the last story, Right on Time, which was a Jeff the Killer story. He was like, no, I don't want to do anything Jeff the Killer. I'm saying, like, but kids would love to see Jeff the Killer in the book. I'm trying to find, like, an even balance between finding something that kids would like, which is, like, these kind of monsters or characters that they're used to seeing, but taken into a brand new light by a new writer, given, like, a new perspective to it, and doing something that's incredibly in-depth. In the second book, there's Neptune's Fancy, which is written almost, like, super Lovecraftian. It's the last story in the book, but it's one of those stories that's just really, really good, and I'm trying to get an even mix of all the different kinds of stories you can find online when it comes down to creepypasta. Really, that's what makes it super challenging about picking them.
Yeah.
Is trying to find something that like is able to show you not just from one specific kind of genre. Everybody's knows Slenderman, and I'm not trying to say like everything in the book is just going to be like Slenderman-esque characters. There's always a tall, dark figure with no face in every single story. I'm always trying to find, one story about hauntings, and one story about home invasions, and then one story about a monster, and one story about a murderer. Things that could be real, things that could be paranormal. Then whenever it's working with these authors, I'm going through, I think, like usually a repertoire, like because I send them out emails that said like, hey, we're going to do a book. Are you interested in doing one? This is how many words we're looking for in the stories. And then, of course, like the author gets really excited, and then they send me back like about 20 stories with all these things. So I'm going through each one like, that works well with this one, that one goes well with this one, and trying to mix and match and pair them together, because I think everybody who's involved in the book has always been really excited about being involved in it.
One question that was coming up when I was preparing for the show, letting everyone know you're coming on, was if there's any aspiring writers out there, how do they submit a good story to you? I mean, is there a way to get you this stuff so you can read it and say, wow, this person really knows how to write?
That's one of my favorite things, is reading stories from just like new people. There's my email is actually at the bottom of every description, every single video I have on my channel. I have like MrCreepyPasta@gmail.com, and I openly invite anybody to send me their stuff. Even like they're self-published authors. They got a book out there. They just want me to like talk, put a card up, talk about their book, make sure people come see it. It's a new horror writer. I'd love to do so. They've done like promoting writing and promoting authors is kind of my thing.
Well, because I've noticed now, even with the creepypasta stuff or writing in general, it inspires kids, youth, to want to write. Want to put pen to paper, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, actually, a couple years ago, I was working with a library over their summer program with kids, and we were all working on how writing in first person and writing for creepypastas, creating horror ideas to be able to write about. It was actually like really cool because I'd be in a Skype call where I have like the cameras on, I could see all the kids, and they would come up and they would try, narrating their stories, and then everybody would talk about like, oh, I liked this, I thought this was really scary, this needs, and like talking about different things in the way that they're structuring their storytelling, which is, oh my god, that was a lot of fun for me. We did that for like I think 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow, that's commitment right there. 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, man. That hats off to you. I mean, it looks like you've really inspired a lot of young horror writers out there. And because when I mentioned this to my daughter, 16, and I said, well, we're having Mr. Creepypasta. You're having Mr. Creepypasta on? Oh, my God. Much like the response Eric got. I'm like, you've heard of him? Oh, Dad, everybody's heard of him. I'm like, all right, settle down. Because she's an aspiring writer. She writes a lot of creepypasta-ish kind of stuff. So, and that was one of her questions is, ask him how I can submit some stuff. So I will ask. Don't worry. Relax. I
let her know. I'd love to see what she can write, man.
Yeah. She's big into that. And, of course, a lot of her inspiration has come from the creepypasta stuff. And, I didn't always know, no offense, I didn't always know about the creepypasta stuff until recently. And it was brought up to me, and I started kind of getting into it going, my God, because I'm a child of, from the 80s, because slasher films, stuff like that. It really brought me back to a time when horror was still horror. You know what I mean? Not this watered-down, stylized crap, but actually scary horror. And that's something that's lacking anymore.
I could agree with you there. There was a couple weeks ago I was doing an interview with Inverse, and they had asked me like, oh yeah, what was like a recent horror film that you liked? And I actually was kind of very much reaching, trying to find one that I was super interested in recently, because I feel like it's either become the same basic formula for horror, just go to a haunted location, something horror is there, and then they either die or get away from it. Or it becomes really difficult these days to figure out something that's new, fresh idea that's able to go to the mass.
Well, and I've also noticed that a lot of the horror flicks that are coming out, and Eric and I, we've talked about this, they slap that watered-down rated PG-13 seal on it to get to the masses, as many people that can see it. And not that there's anything wrong with it being rated PG-13, but it's definitely marketed to the biggest possible audience. Not like back in the day when Texas Chainsaw Massacre first hit theaters. Visceral and hardcore. You just don't get that often anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it used to be marketed to be so scary that you couldn't take it. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you would vomit if you go see this film. It's going to make you throw up, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's very, very extremely rare to see something like that. I think the last one was, Green Inferno was the one that tried to go super gross out horror.
Yeah, I think so. And then, of course, Rob Zombie. He tries. I mean, his films are I give him kudos to some extent because they don't hold back like a lot of them do. Mm-hmm. So like 31, I recently saw that one, Rob Zombie, and it was actually not a great film, but at least he tried to bring back old school horror.
Yeah.
And so no one's really doing that. Like you said, it seems to be a dying art. It really does.
It's just I think there's at least from a production standpoint, it feels like there's a lack of interest, but I think it's not a lack of interest as much as it is just it's a misconception for what people could be interested in, like a loss of creating art versus a loss of, give in art in place of trying to make money.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I'm really glad that we still have people out there that have the ability to create art, people that want to make horror and things like that.
Art and money don't necessarily live in the same space. You can't do art wanting to make money. You got to do it from the heart. In fact, we had a painter on, and it's going to escape me, Eric, but remember the painter we had on that did horror images?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we talked about it. We said, well,
from prisons, he did a tour of prisons.
Yeah, he did tours of prisons, and he'd paint the prisons. And we asked him, well, what do you get for all these paintings? He says, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? It's not why I do it. I don't do my art for the money. That's handled by other people that want the money. Me, I do it for free. So so that's a mark of a true artist.
Yeah, seriously, that's wild, man.
Yeah. We got to run a break, though. We'll be right back with more Mr. Creepypasta. And at the end of this break, we're going to play I Told You to Smile. Don't go anywhere. Be right back right after this. Hey, you're listening to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness.
This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims.
Keep it up, let the rumors spread. Don't you try to catch my blind!
The 2nd January, 2:04 a.m. I woke up to a knock at the door. One knock every 3 seconds. I slipped on my slippers and walked down the stairs. As I walked down, the knocking on the door got faster, almost like a heartbeat. When I got to the door, the knocking stopped. I looked outside and no one was there. I went back up to my room and went back to bed, thinking it was just some kids playing a prank. At 4:21 a.m., I woke up to the front door slamming shut. I jumped, terrified. I looked over at my frosted window to find "Smile" written all over it. Written in the frost. I grabbed my phone next to me, ready to call 911, only to find a message written on it. "I told you to smile." I ran for my life out of the house. When I was outside, I knocked on my neighbor's door across the road. They answered and held me while I sobbed. They phoned the police, and exactly 5:42, the police came to my neighbor's house after an extensive search of mine. They told me that there had been no evidence at all of anyone in my home other than me. The messages on the window were gone. Same with the ones on my phone. They told me to get some sleep and advised me to see the doctor about stress and anxiety problems. I knew what happened to me was real. Following evening, after spending the day at my neighbor's, I went home. I went up to my bedroom and set up a camera. It was aimed at my bedroom door and my bed. I set it to record and went to sleep. Thankfully, I slept through the night. However, as I watched the footage, I couldn't believe what I saw. At 3 a.m, something crawled out from under my bed. It was completely naked, an anorexic man. He stood up and looked at me on the bed. He did so for an hour, not moving at all. Then he walked over to the camera until his face took up the whole shot. He was extremely pale. He had bulging veins all over his head. His eyes were completely black with a huge smile on his face. He stared at the camera for another 2 hours, not blinking, just slightly twisting his head every now and again. After 2 hours of him staring went past, he walked back over to my bed and crawled under. I skipped the video forward until it showed me getting up and walking over to the camera. The video finished. I was frozen with fear. The video showed him going back under the bed, but not leaving.
Okay, that is totally creepy, Eric. Wow.
Love it. Love it. Goosebumps.
Wow. Wow. Welcome back to After Hours AM. And I almost peed a little. I was so scared of that one, I'll be honest with you. And we are talking tonight, of course, with Mr. Creepypasta himself, proprietor, owner, the grand poobah of Creepypasta channel at YouTube. And that is just one story you could find on YouTube, but there's also a couple books out there. Creepypasta Volume 1, Creepypasta Volume 2. You're going to want to pick these up. Barnes & Noble, Amazon's got them. You name it, they got it. All the better bookstores, maybe even a few ones that aren't so good, they all got it. So you want to pick up those books. Now, when I got to ask you, who does the narrations? Who brings all this to life?
The narrations, that's 100% me.
Is that all you? Damn.
Oh, yeah, he's the dude. He's
You do it all because, see,
Creepypasta.
now I've noticed now other voices, you mimicked other voices that, like, there was one I was listening to recently that was a 911 call.
No, okay, so every once in a while, I'll bring in other YouTubers. It's not, like, when I say 100%, I mean almost. I'm usually the narrator, or I'll end up playing, like, another character. There's somewhere I'll do, like, full-on audiobook, like Baraska and Baraska V. I did every character in a town. That was all just me doing different voices for characters.
Man.
But for other things, like 911 call, I brought in my friend who is another creepypasta narrator named Creepy Mrs. Pasta. I brought her in to do the voice of the 911 operator. So that wasn't me, like, acting as a woman. My falsetto is not nearly that good.
I was going to say, you, my friend, are a master of voiceover. If that was all you, I was going to say, all right, you got me there. That was a convincing woman, let me tell you.
I appreciate it. But no, I can't do that one. I've had some pretty cool people come on, though, like Chuck Huber from the voice actor from a good amount of like anime and such, is a pretty good friend, and he came on to do this fantastic narration, do some other creepypasta characters as well. We had some really big names too do some narrations on the channel. Like we had Bruce Campbell on there last Halloween.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he was doing this story called Big Effin' Roach, about literally a big effin' roach.
Gotta love Bruce. Love Bruce.
So seriously, MCP. No, really, you do a really great job. You have a very supple voice and really created atmosphere. Really good use of music.
Eric, let us voice over one. Come on, Mr. Creepypasta. Let me and Eric do one.
I'm down. I would love for that to happen.
Let's let me and Eric do one. Maybe about creepy radio caller or something. We would definitely voice that.
Yeah, I actually think I might have something I could totally do that.
Absolutely, seriously, love to do it. It would be an honor. It would be so fun. And I have done some things like that, but it's been a while, so it would really be great.
Yeah, we're so down to do that.
And I'm going to go ahead and pull this up with one of my other writers as soon as we're done, and I'm going to get this over to you because I think this actually could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a story about that deals with radio hosts.
Okay. So, well, we are that.
That's serendipitous that you're bringing that up.
It's a small world. Hey, I wanted to get into something. What is your personal? Yes, I mean, let's do it. We're on, man. We had Wednesday's the true crime, and we had the great Tony Harris inviting us to participate and get involved with some of the things he's doing. So, man, that was certainly that was a treat and an honor. But man, to work with you in this field, man. I mean, you are the tippy top. Dude, that would be so fantastic. What I wanted to ask you though is, what is your personal background in horror? And is it film? Is it written? Is it TV? What are your benchmarks in terms of your personal background? You know, what do you bring when you got into this 6 years ago or whatever it was? What was your personal background?
It's actually not super, like, in all honesty, like a lot of the other YouTubers I work with, like Madame Macabre, is this really big, she's a really big horror YouTuber. And when she talks to me about horror, she goes into like, oh yeah, when I was 4 years old, I was watching like Freddy Krueger movies with my dad, and we watch all of them, and I think it was so funny when I was a kid. I was like not like that at all. I was a terrified child. I think I watched Child's Play when I was like 8.
Yeah.
And I was just absolutely horrified. I didn't want toys near me anymore as a kid. I didn't want to be near anything that resembled like a Chucky doll. It was really horrifying. I think I didn't start getting into horror until I was like in high school, and then I was really into Friday the 13th and Jason and all the other stuff there. And because I was really into Friday the 13th back then, I started watching my way through 80s slasher films, which was it actually still is my favorite genre of horror is slashers.
Oh, by far, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Oh, dude, I absolutely love that. When I was in college, this is actually where I started acting. Was the film student I was working with, because I never actually really had acting training in any way, but she would always need an actor. So she always wanted to produce slasher films and horror films and things that were always horror related. So I would be her actor, or one of the actors, usually like one of the main characters and such, for all of her student films. And that was like all the way through college. So we were doing like, 4 or 5 like short films a year, going through just doing stuff like that. And eventually taking going to classes and such with her, for her film schools where I learned how to do stuff with audio.
Very
and
cool.
that was a really big build, trying to learn audio and all the audio editing and such software, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just learning by doing, and I still keep my old narrations, like the very first 2 or 3 I did, on my channel because they are just horrid. They're like the worst microphone, the worst editing. There's like no music in it. It's awful. And I just have it on there just to remind me, like, yeah, okay, I'm still doing better. Cool.
I hear you, man. There's nothing wrong with being humble, my friend. Nothing wrong at all.
That's right.
We all got to remember where we came from, and how far we've come to have that benchmark. Yeah, I mean, but how long does it take to produce one of these? I mean, how many hours do you have in on the average creepypasta presentation on YouTube?
It's a little hard to judge because it depends really what the story requires, but usually, like now, the average time that YouTube wants us to have is about 10 minutes. So for about a 10-minute story, it's probably about 5 to 6 hours. Longer if we really need to get into doing Foley that's outside of what we usually want to do, that's really just kind of soundscape and atmospheric, or if we need to use something besides like our set music that we have, we need to compose something, then of course that takes a lot longer. But really kind of the basic thing, like if I was doing something that was like explaining a ritual style in 10 minutes, that would just use like a simple soundscapes and build probably like some building music and stuff, then it would probably take about 6 hours.
We just might have a hookup for you, my friend. We are good friends with Midnight Syndicate, and they are the official horror movie, a horror house, horror house, the House of Horrors.
Haunted house.
There we go. Let me say it that
everywhere.
way. Exactly. They are the foremost composers of that kind of music. And
that's awesome.
Yes, I mean they're nothing but creepy.
They of course want credit, and they're very savvy, but they're also very open, and they encourage us to use their music. I mean, they definitely would work with you in some sort of marketing sharing arrangement. So you check in with them. Definitely use our names with the Midnight Syndicate, or we could just hook them up with you. So that'd be a great outlet for them, and it'd be great new music for you.
Yeah, dude, hook me up. I'd love to.
Yeah, we're all about hooking people up, man. Because it'd be a great fit. I really believe that, and because man, they are creepy. Check them out on the internet when you get a chance. That Midnight Syndicate. And
look them up.
Yeah, you'll be just amazed at what two guys are doing with music. Guys. Yeah, just two guys. It sounds like 50.
but they also play live. And 2 years ago, they did a live show, complete stage show, super cool at Cedar Point here in Ohio. And they're going to be doing that again this year for the Halloween season at Cedar Point. They have their haunted Hallow weekends. And so it's kind of like, greatest hits, and they have a full band, and they put on a full production. Very, very cool stuff. But they've been around for quite a while, 20 years. They're just celebrating their 20th anniversary. And, they're essentially in one way or another, in every haunted attraction in the country, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a pretty big name.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So they're right here. They're in Northeast Ohio.
We will hook you up with them.
Area.
We'll definitely hook you up with them as well, Mr. Creepypasta. And kind of.
Man, we're making all kinds of connections.
We are. Hey, that's what the radio is all about, man. It's making those good connections of people and helping each other out.
Yeah, that's entertainment, man. Is making friends with people and honestly, one of my favorite things about working in entertainment now is that everybody seems to be really nice, and you kind of go off and you meet people, you talk to people. Everybody's so friendly with each other. Just kind of like everybody wants to get to know, everybody wants to be friends, and like, who do you know? Let's all talk. Let's all just go out, hang out. Let's all have a beer together. It's such a nice experience, honestly.
Mutual support and mutual respect. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. And that is a very gratifying way to go. And like you've said, you were maybe a bit modest about it, but I mean, that's the essence of what you do. You are promoting writers, and especially new writers. And I know for a fact that they really appreciate it. When I mentioned, I just ran downstairs now at the break and said, we're on with Mr. Creepypasta to my son and daughter. My daughter's 17. She's I'm beyond that. Man. I'm 17. But my son was like, yeah, well, the coolest thing about him is the fact that he welcomes new writers, and he seems to really be into that. So that is your reputation. That is super cool. What does the future hold? What is the way forward for you? What are you going to do that's new and or different?
There's a lot of things that I have planned. There's one writer I work really, really closely with, and it's Vincent Benicava. and we have done like a lot of stuff together. We have like projects that I don't know how much I can actually talk about. I can say one of them is a comic book, or the next continuation of the comic book, because last year we kickstarted one, and that was literally us just trying to make a classic horror comic on our own to see if we could do it with creepypasta characters. And like the first one just came out, it went off to all the backers, and we're talking about doing more of them and continuing it because it got really big, really popular. So we want to be able to produce more of those, and I know that's definitely in the future. We had other talks about doing like board games and things like that we've all been fiddling around with ideas and creating stuff together. But honestly, I don't know. I know that on YouTube, like YouTube's been having a lot of problems lately, but I've got so many plans for like series, for big events for Halloween that are coming up, live streams and things like that we're doing on YouTube also. And hopefully there'll be more books.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would imagine there's more books in the hopper. I mean, you have so many stories.
More books, hopefully. I'm really hoping that we can keep going with CREEPYPASTA Collection, maybe something new, if it continues on from there too, because we've had ideas for quite a while.
Yeah, well, and I'd probably be run out of town if I don't bring this up, but Jeff the Killer has an origin story in the book, and that was that's pretty darn cool. Because how did Jeff the Killer come about? Rather, by the way. Because that seems... Oh, I didn't mean to cut you up, but that's all I've heard about today. It was Jeff the Killer, Jeff the Killer, Jeff the Killer. Finally, I'm like, who the hell's Jeff the Killer? So I went and watched the video.
It's just like a name that's like... It's almost a dirty word, because like this character itself, I love him to death. Like, literally, he's one of my favorites. Because like I said, like the 80s slasher character...
Yeah.
That is Jeff the Killer. He's like a... like early 20s, late teens slasher character, like to a fault. But the original story for him, not amazing. Like it was this kind of very cliched, not incredibly well edited story. Mm-hmm. I know it came off of DeviantArt years ago, years and years. And I don't even know if there was anybody like listed to it now. Like the author has been lost to obscurity over the years. But there is not really an origin story, but there is a story featuring him that's in the first book. Mm-hmm. And I loved that rendition of him because it just goes straight into the 80s slasher version of him.
Yeah.
We don't have to deal a lot with like the teenage bullying angst and stuff like that, which is 90% of the original story. And we kind of go right into the horror element of what the character can be and what he's become. And really, like, honestly, if you look up Jeff the Killer, like if you Google it, you'll get tons of results because he's just a huge character. But everybody focuses on him as the killer versus being, like him as the teenager. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, like, the super cool part about Jeff the Killer is him as that killer. Him being that slasher. I did a whole radio drama on my show a couple years ago called Jeff the Killer versus Jane, or Jeff versus Jane. And it literally was just me creating like a Freddy versus Jason fan fiction, but I am just replacing them with Jeff the Killer and this Jane character.
Well, yeah, because Jeff the Killer kind of seemed like a molding of Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, kind of like came together and smashed them together.
That's exactly what I always view him as too, because he almost has like this immortality whenever kids write about him. That I thought was basically like Jason from Part 6, where he just becomes this zombie character that just can't die because by will of evil, he can always progress on through.
Yeah, it just keeps going and going and going. The unstoppable force. You can only hope to contain him, but you can't stop him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jeff the Killer, good stories. I mean, all of them over there. And the books are unreal. And have you noticed your demographic changing a little bit towards the older generation with the release of the books?
Yeah, actually, I have. I've always had, like, this strange rift. Like, on my audience, I can always see that, like, my main audience, because this main audience of YouTube is always, like, 12 to 18, 12 to 19, that kind of area. Teenagers just love using YouTube. But I'll see that there's a 12 to 19, and then we get, like, a little bit in the early 20s. And then there's nothing, and then somewhere around 35 to 45, we have another huge leap, because I'm guessing it's just like, it's a piquing interest in reading in the books. And originally, my idea was that, like, okay, we're going to try to put in like a couple small things for kids in the books, but for the most part, we're going towards that age group. That's where we're selling to, is that little bump.
Yeah.
Turns out everybody seemed to like it, but yeah, with the books, that little bump's been getting bigger. People seem to be picking it up, and since it talks about the YouTube channel in the books, and like, you know, on the back everywhere it talks about like my MrCreepyPasta YouTube channel. I've been seeing an audience come from the books and over to the channel, and I've been seeing like people that like, I really like this. I get a couple of emails here and there, like just fan letters, and I got one where it was a grandmother who found the book and read the book, found out that her grandson watches the channel, so now they watch the channel together. And that was a super sweet story, and like it's one of my favorite things. It's one of the ones I just kind of like pull the email to the side and put it in my favorites, just so I can come back and when I'm feeling down, I'll read that email again.
Very, you know, because even people I know, my age, I'm 42, that I do radio with, and horror filmmakers that I know, I'll bring up creepypasta, and you're right, that demographic right around my age range has found it because we all grew up a real horror, and creepypasta offers that again. You know, that chance to kind of go back in the time machine and actually read something that's genuinely scary and is scary to be. It's made to be scary, and that's not made to sell anything, but it's made to be scary, and that's something that we have found in my generation has found really refreshing.
Man, that's one of the things I like about creepypastas too, because like, I mean, like you said, it goes back to this idea that it can be something that's really scary, and I mean, like a lot of the times when people like look up creepypastas, they'll find stuff that's like Jeff the Killer, which I mean, not necessarily considered to be really scary, but at the same in the same breath, you have like these really incredible stories about like insanity, like Asylum and Psychosis. And Neptune's Fancy, and Picture This, all these stories that are like really in-depth kind of characters where they're verging on insanity, convincing themselves that they're sane. There's one about this woman in the closet who's just like, it makes you almost feel like a child who doesn't want to, go to their closet anymore, about a father who is trying to prove to his son that there's nothing to be afraid of. So he sets a camera up in the kid's room to show you, like, look, you'll just see you're sleeping all night. But he watches a woman come out of the child's closet, pick him up, and take him into the closet and put like this fly larva on the bed instead. And over the next 2 hours, the fly larva takes on the form of his son.
Oh, that's creepy. And
it was like, yeah, like of course everybody is learning, and I've always tried to make that a really big thing in like creepypasta, like creepypasta.com, the Wikia, and everybody gets a chance to submit their stories. Even I have an app. Like the MrCreepyPasta app, like where it's like everybody submit your stories and I can be able to read them and stuff, because everybody has a place where they're starting out at.
Yep.
And at no point should like somebody be judged off like, oh yeah, I'm going to write a story about a teenager who sees a ghost and they get really scared so they go home. That shouldn't be judged on the same level as like somebody else who's like writing these incredible like novellas stories.
Yeah.
But everybody is always on that same level because we all still have an interest in horror. And that person who wrote their first story, at one point, you can always say that I'm got something to look up to, and that's what I want to be. So if I keep writing, I can get up to that same point. And then everybody gets that. Everybody's just increasing how well they write, increasing their talent. And I feel like that's really what creepypasta is about for young kids, and it's getting to that big point, and everybody who's older is able to still also read those really big stories, those really big points, and then be able to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. We got like 1 minute left. I cannot believe that this hour has flown by so fast. But can you tell everyone again your websites and how to get a hold of you to submit stories, all that stuff?
Yeah, YouTube.com/MrCreepyPasta is the #1 place to be able to find me. You can also find stories as well as community on iTunes and on Android under the MrCreepyPasta app. And if you want to submit your story to me for me to be able to read, it's MrCreepyPasta@gmail.com.
Hey, thanks a ton, Mr. Creepypasta, for coming on the show. Really enjoyed it. It was really an honor to talk to you.
Dude, it's been a lot of fun for me, too. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Not a problem. On behalf of myself, Mr. Joel Sturgis, of course, Mr. Eric Olsen over there sitting in the corner going, oh, my God, that was scary. Those stories, I tell you what. We'd like to thank you again for listening to this edition of After Hours AM. Take care of each other, love each other, and get writing some creepypasta of your own. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter.